Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Together Apart video series. We are in week 7 of our 7-week spiritual journey of counting the Omer. Now, since the second night of Passover, we have been engaged in a spiritual practice of counting every day up from Passover until Shavuot. And now we are in week 7 and just a few days away from Shavuot itself, which is this coming Sunday evening. I hope you'll join us actually for our Metro West Shavuot program happening this coming Sunday night. You can see the Temple Beth Torah calendar for more details. Now, in this 7th week, as we've been doing in the last 7 weeks of this practice, is that we've been focusing on one particular inner trait, one divine trait on which we reflect and do spiritual work. So for the last 7 weeks, we've been sort of in this process of spiritual transformation and of personal reflection, and we are capping that off this 7th week. Now this week, we are working specifically on the trait of Malchut, the divine trait of Malchut. And there's a number of meanings to Malchut, a real constellation of meanings to Malchut. Now, one is that it refers to God's kingship. It refers to kind of God's sovereignty over the world. Another of the meanings of Malchut is that it refers to Shekhinah, which is God's dwelling presence in the world, which happens to also be a feminine aspect and manifestation of God. But what I want to talk about today is the sort of meaning of Malchut as receptivity. Now, Malchut in the Jewish mystical understanding is about looking back on all of the traits that we've already worked on. We've worked on the trait of chesed, or kindness. We've worked on gevura, strength and boundaries, tiferet, beauty and balance, endurance, or netzach. We looked at hod, connecting to the larger spiritual reality we've been part of, and of course yesod, or foundations, which we looked at last week. So Malchut is really an opportunity to receive any one or all of these traits more deeply. So the invitation this week can be to take a look at one of the traits that we've already worked on this past week, potentially one that spoke to you a little bit more. Feel free to take another week to reflect and to work on that. But I also want to invite you to use this week to think about receptivity more generally. Because just as our tradition teaches that, the moon has no light of its own, but it simply receives and reflects the light of the sun, so too is an aspect of human life the capacity to be receptive. Now, I think in many ways we are very receptive as human beings. When we're in our best moments, when we're our best selves, our hearts are open to others, we're open to new ideas, we're open to change, we may be even open to feedback from other people. Yet, in our less than best moments, we struggle with this. We struggle to be open to others. We struggle to embrace new ways of thinking or new ideas. We struggle to embrace change, to embrace it for the opportunity that it is without fear. So with this, I want to invite you the invitation to reflect on receptivity. In what ways have you in your life been able to be receptive? What has been a moment, for example, in the last year in which you have felt your heart open to others, to new ideas, to change, or even to feedback from other people? And in what ways has being receptive been difficult for you? In what ways has it been difficult to embrace newness or change or others? So as usual, I invite you to share your responses with me to these questions. I look forward, as every week, to hearing what's on your heart and mind. You can reach me at rabbi@bethtorah.org. Have a happy and healthy Shavuot.